open doors where I am now. Where I am now, I'm in a special place. I'm turning on the embrace where I am now. It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Everette, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, where I am now. And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 studio, WMVA 88.9 FM, all you have to do is go over to Everette's Facebook page or Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton Facebook page. And guess what? You can see me live right here in the studio. And if you want to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to 1400 AM, 1350 AM, and guess what? You can hear us all over the world. And now I want to introduce you some and present the others, the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. And she's out on location on today. That's Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm going to be your host on today, so you make sure that you call her and let her know how well of a job that we're doing. We want to welcome all of our radio listeners on WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, WMVA 88.9, WPeace 95.3 FM, Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. We want to say good morning to all of you. And we thank you so very, very much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. Miss Yolanda, Lady Hinton's out on location. She'll be back with us, and I can't wait on Monday. So you make sure that you tune in on Sports Talk on Monday and After Dark on FYI with Miss Yolanda, Lady Hinton, and Ed Everette. Thank you so much for tuning in again. This is our Friday segment. What's in your closet? Issues concerning women. That's right. What's in your closet with issues concerning you women? We got a special guest today. We got in the closet today, we got Miss Jessica Morings, owner of RESQ LLC. And we want to say a pleasant good morning to you, Miss Jessica.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And thank you so very, very much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show and being our special guest on FYI Radio Show. Tell our listening audience a little bit about Miss Jessica Morings.
Well, I am a Virginia native, born and raised in Suffolk, Virginia. I currently live in North Carolina, where I started my company, Rescue, at the peak of COVID. But I travel around teaching life-saving skills to individuals and first responders.
Tell our listening audience what Rescue is all about.
Well, Rescue is a licensed training provider for the American Red Cross and American Heart Association. And we also partner with other companies as well. And what we do is we have instructors that travel nationwide, teaching life-saving skills such as CPR, first aid, basic medical training, how to respond to sudden illnesses. And we just bring that awareness to local communities about the importance of learning life-saving skills and what to do if an emergency occurs.
I had an opportunity to be in Miss Morning's class, and what a great class she had when she began to teach about CPR. I was just getting reissued my CPR license, and she was my instructor. Maureen, tell our listening audience, what is CPR?
Well, CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Basically, in a nutshell, trying to restart the heart in a way. You'd be surprised at how many cardiac arrest situations occur right at home. 90% of them occur right in our home. And, just learning the importance of CPR and what to do if a situation occurs can really help save someone's life. And so we just, try to teach individuals those skills. We also teach children those skills because, you never know when it happens in your backyard.
Who can administer CPR?
Anyone can administer CPR. Requirements based on the American Red Cross and American Heart Association say if you are able to achieve the objective of going the right depth and the right pace on that person's chest, and you're pumping that blood to that heart muscle, that's all we're worried about. I have taught children as young as 9 years old. I've certified children as young as 9 years old. So as long as you're able to do the skill itself, anyone can take CPR. And I highly recommend that even if you're unable to take CPR, you should still learn the skills because you never know. You could be right there in that situation when someone really needs your help.
What are some of the skills? What are some of the things that folks need to know about and when to administer CPR?
So there's some steps that we usually, take when someone should prepare for an emergency. I'm sure you remember in the class we spoke about check, call, and care.
Yeah.
So we always advise individuals, check your scene, check for signs of an emergency. If there is an unusual sound, unusual odors, unusual behaviors, those are ways that we can recognize that an emergency is occurring. We always advise our students, the first thing you always want to do is call 911. Have someone else call 911 if you're unable to do so yourself. And when you realize that that person has no heartbeat and they're not breathing, the first thing you want to do is take action and immediately start CPR. One question I normally get a lot is the liability portion of it. A lot of people are afraid of providing care and taking on that liability if they were to harm someone. And what I like to tell my students is you're going to naturally, rip cartilage. You're going to naturally break something. That's just natural when you're doing CPR. But I would prefer that person to make it to the hospital, make a complaint about me breaking their bones later. And that's the only thing that matters. So just having basic skills and basic knowledge of, how fast to go and how deep to go is the key to CPR and saving a life. And when EMS arrive, they can take over that care. But we are the very first ones on scene, which makes our job most critical.
Well, when we recognize and check caring, when we see someone that's going through some things, what are some of the things that we should recognize when we know about a heart attack victim or symptoms that a person should recognize? A choking, when a person is choking, when a person is just lying there, not moving. How do we recognize those things, like heart attacks, like diabetes attacks, and what are some of the symptoms that we need to see?
Yeah. Well, we definitely talk about all of those sudden illnesses in our classes. And one thing that we want our students to understand is the difference of a heart attack and cardiac arrest. A lot of people describe them as the same sudden illness, and they're not. So what a heart attack is when your heart is struggling to get oxygenated blood. Usually someone is still awake, they're responsive. They may have chest pain, trouble breathing, pain that radiates down one side of their arm or their body, but that person is still awake and responsive. And in that situation, we're just preparing to do CPR, but you always want to call 911 first. If someone is going through a heart attack, they could likely go into cardiac arrest. And when that occurs, that's when you want to go ahead and jump in there and start doing CPR immediately. So we definitely talk about the signs and the symptoms of a heart attack and what to look for. When it comes to choking, everyone does that universal sign, holding their throat. But surprisingly, a lot of individuals can mistake choking for anaphylaxis, an allergic reaction. And so in our class, we try to specify what to look for when it's choking, what to look for if it's anaphylaxis or asthma. They each have different signs and symptoms, but ultimately the steps are the same. No matter what kind of emergency you're going through, you always want to call 911 first and immediately start using the training that you've learned to help save a life or help someone's situation.
Do you think that our community need to know more about CPR?
Yes, definitely, definitely. We have seen a rise in interest in CPR since COVID of 2020, and that's a great thing. But I believe that people should learn CPR, for their own benefit. Like I said, 90% of cardiac arrest situations happen at home, and that could be one of your loved ones that you're sitting there watching TV with. And so I feel like our community can really benefit from learning these life-saving skills because you just never know. You can help someone in need. You can help one of your family members. We partnered with our local communities here in North Carolina, and we're trying to implement these courses in our schools so that children can also benefit and learn from them. We work with our community centers, and we work with a ton of churches here in North Carolina, from Raleigh all the way to Asheville.
When we talk about giving CPR care, and care, clear check, cash, and check and care, when we talk about that, we often look at heart attack victims, choking victims. Does this same the way that we look at can be in babies as well?
Yeah, well, babies do have a little bit of a difference. When they're babies, they're unable to talk and communicate. So their signs and symptoms are a little different. When it comes to children, with young babies like infants, they may have a sudden look on their face of surprise. They're more fidgety, moving a lot more, and they're not making any noises. They're not cooing or crying, or you can clearly tell they're struggling to breathe, and they're also going to turn colors. Sometimes they can turn blue or red in the face. Their lips could turn a purplish tint. And those are ways that we recognize that something is occurring when it comes to a baby.
Yeah.
Cardiac arrest in children is very unlikely. Not saying it couldn't happen, but it's very unlikely. Usually those are due to the effects of drowning or breathing emergencies or severe trauma. And when we recognize those, the steps are pretty much the same as an adult. Now, of course, their body is much smaller and fragile, so we're not going to apply the same steps, but the steps to that emergency is exactly the same for adults, children, as well as infants.
I recommend that everybody go to class. Everybody find a CPR class or go to Rescue LLC. Miss Moring will give you her information in just a few. But I suggest that everybody take a CPR class because you can help somebody to help save lives of your loved ones, and also someone that's in the restaurant or in your church. You can learn how to recognize when someone is sick, going through some channels of life. Miss Morning, you also teach about the AED. Tell our listening audience more about what an AED is and how it is used.
So an AED stands for automatic external defibrillator. And pretty much that device is used to kind of restart the heart and reset the rhythm. A lot of people think it's kind of like jumper cables. like it's made to jumpstart a heart. And what I like to let them know is it's nothing like jumper cables whatsoever. That's where CPR comes in, and pumping that blood to that heart will kind of help it restart. The AED is what's going to put the heart back in its normal rhythm. And so in order for us to really save a life, you have to combine CPR with the use of an AED. And AEDs are easy to purchase online today. So a lot of facilities, large companies may carry them. If you were to ever have a situation or an emergency, they're pretty close by. We advise everyone, if you take CPR, also make sure that your course includes AED, so that way you know how to use one, what to look for, and the steps to follow on how to properly use it.
That's right, and it's a very, very good piece of equipment to have close by when you are out there in the fields doing CPR. You know, babies also could use the AED. Am I right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when the
Yep.
go ahead.
I was saying it's a little different when it comes to babies, the placement, but the AED will always run the same for every person, and it will increase their chances of survival, regardless of whether you're using it on an infant or an adult.
Well, you know, you got pads on an infant, and you got pads for an infant, and you got pads for adults. And one of the things that I found that was so unique as I was in the class, Miss Jessica, is when you begin to teach that the pads that they're used for infants, that one goes in the front and the other one goes in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then with an adult, the one goes on the right side of the chest and the other one on the left side of the chest. And there are some, I mean, you are one of the greatest teachers that I have ever sat in class to do. You know, I mean, so when folks are doing CPR, all they have to do is, you know, take time out and be a part of your class. Give them your information of how they can get in contact with you and more.
Okay, well, I appreciate that you loved our class. And you guys, if you're interested in taking CPR, it's very easy, very quick class. You can contact us. Our number is 757-650-3832. You can also visit us on our website. It's resqnc.org, or you can email us at rescuellcnc@gmail.com. We have a ton of classes in the area of Hampton Roads, Virginia, and we travel up and down the Eastern Shore providing classes. So we can definitely find an opportunity for any of your listeners to take a course.
Well, are there any employment opportunities at Rescue?
Of course, we're always looking for energetic individuals who want to reach out to the community and provide these courses. So we're always hiring for instructors. We provide the instructor training course as well under our curriculum. So if anyone's interested in becoming a CPR instructor, they can reach us and we'll give them those steps on how to do that. It is very easy. Everyone will need to take a basic level course. So like I said, you guys can reach us at 757-650-3832, and we can give you those steps on how to sign up for our instructor course as well as our basic level courses.
You know, a lot of our listening audience want to know, Miss Jessica, how did Everette do, Mr. E, do in your class?
Mr. Everette was amazing. He did a really good job and kept us laughing for sure. But you did an amazing job. And if I was ever in a situation, I hope that you would come across and help save my life. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. And you are a great instructor as well.
Thank you.
So Miss Jessica, invite our listening audience, invite our community to and let them know to take that CPR class. How important is it for our community to get involved when it comes to taking that CPR class?
Well, it's very important to get involved in taking CPR, and we have individuals that contact us that they're not interested in sitting in the class itself. which is awesome because we have online classes that they can take. That is very easy to take. But it takes no time at all. You know, a few minutes out of your day to just learn the basic skills, you could really help save a life. And what I did want to mention for all of your listeners that taking CPR classes is very important. And we love the fact that they're taking the time to listen to this and to educate themselves on the importance of life-saving skills. So for anyone who is listening and you're interested in taking CPR, give us a call. You can mention FYI Radio, and we will offer you a 50% discount on all of our classes that we're offering. So we really push for people to learn this course. We really push for them to learn these basic skills because you just never know when you need them.
You know, Miss Jessica, as I begin to look at when we was in the class, I began to brainstorm in myself of why the community needs to know about CPR. You know, because there's so many folks that's on that drug, that opioid, or there's so many folks that's that's drinking that alcohol. There's so many folks that's not going to the doctor that at any time could have a stroke, that any time can have a heart attack. You know, also you begin to teach about those cuts and bruises on applying tourniquets. Can you let our listening audience know about the pool of blood and when should they call 911 and how to apply a tourniquet?
Yeah, so we do teach life-threatening bleeding. In that course, we try to teach using direct pressure first if it's a minor injury. And we use two words specifically, volume and flow. That lets you know whether it's a life-threatening injury or a minor injury. If it's a pool of blood or it's pulsing out, that could be a life-threatening emergency. And so someone can lose their life before EMS arrive, especially if we don't provide care immediately. You can buy basic first aid kits, and you can also purchase hemostatic bandages and tourniquets. And what we advise them to do is always use direct pressure first and try to stop the bleeding first. Tourniquets are last resort, but if you notice that you're not getting that bleeding to stop and you've applied that bandage or you've applied that pressure for more than 5 minutes and it's still continuing, just depending on your situation, you may have to apply a tourniquet. Hemostatic bandages is also something really great to have if you're in your first aid kit. They have a medication that helps the blood clot so that person can stop bleeding. So we advise people to purchase those as well. But life-threatening bleeding is one of our main courses and a very big course that a lot of people are interested in taking, especially in today's society. You really can't step outside your door without being afraid of something. And I hate to say that, but with so many things going on in our communities and around the world, you really just want to prepare yourself for any kind of emergency. And life-threatening bleeding is one of those emergencies we often see.
Now let's talk, for example, you mentioned it earlier about the legalness of saving life. Should I or should I not? Or should I or should I not? You know, that's what a lot of people, when it comes up to someone laying down in going through changes of life, having a heart attack, need to have the rhythm, need to have chest compressions, or need to have two breaths blown into a person's chest. They're hesitant about doing that because, one, they don't have the mask, they don't have the gloves. What should a person do just in case there's none of those sterilized equipments there?
Well, if you have no gloves, that's fine. Still go ahead and provide care. As long as you have no open wounds on your hands, you're pretty safe. And we always advise you, to have hand hygiene. Always follow washing your hands for longer than 20 seconds and make sure that you're using soap as well. That's going to thoroughly clean your hands off. But if you don't have gloves, that's perfectly fine. If you don't have a face mask or a breathing barrier, we teach compression-only CPR. So if an individual is unable or unwilling for any reason to not do the full CPR, they can do compression-only CPR. And you always want to do that after calling 911. But we do notice that a lot of people are hesitant with providing care because of the liability. And that's where our Good Samaritan laws come into play, and they protect us from giving care. Basically stating that you're there to give care without accepting anything in return. And each state has their own specific Good Samaritan law, but it is universal when it comes to CPR. So if you were to rip cartilage, or if you were to break a rib or puncture a lung when you're doing compression, you're still protected under our Good Samaritan laws in the United States. And that's the good thing about it. So there's no reason to be afraid of injuring someone, because if they're not breathing and they have no heartbeat, you cannot hurt them any worse of a situation than they're already in.
Wow.
And so we really try to build the confidence in people and let them know, go out there and give care if that person needs care.
Give our listening audience your telephone number again and how they can get in contact with you, and how, because you said you're never too old or never too young to learn CPR. Give them that information one more time. How old should a person be, and what do they need to do? Long as they can get down on their knees and do compressions, and do them 30 compressions and them 2 breaths in somebody and pull the tongue back or tilt the head back, they're doing wonderful. Am I right? Give them that information again.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can reach us at our number is 757-650-3832. You can also email us at resqllcnc@gmail.com. And like I said, anyone from any age can take our course as long as you're able to get down there and do the skills. We certify and train people of all ages. So we really advise you guys to take this class. It's very quick, simple, and you just never know when you can save someone's life. So again, my number is 757-650-3832.
And don't forget that if there, can we get involved? Let's say a shooting victim may be out there. Somebody just laying on the side of the road, done been shot. Yeah, it's okay for you to jump into action. Am I right?
Yes, definitely. The shooting situation has nothing to do with that first responder per se, but you can still help somebody in that situation. That's actually one of the things that we noticed in today, with shooting situations, that a lot of fatalities occur because of the fact that people are afraid of helping someone else, helping or making that situation worse, basically. And so we also teach about gunshot wounds and what to do if somebody was shot, or if there's a large wound, what should you do in that situation? If someone's limb gets amputated, what to do in that situation? So we teach about all of those skills. We have a ton of car accidents that happen every day, and a lot of those deaths could be avoided if someone who has basic life-saving skills were to help.
Say that one more time. We got 60 seconds. I want you to say that one more time. If everybody, you said that if someone would jump into action, take the CPR, and we can save a whole lot of lives. Am I right? Say that one more time and give them your information.
Okay. Yeah. So you just never know the emergency situation that you're occurring with. It could be a gunshot victim. It could be a car accident. It could be a cardiac arrest situation in your home. And just having that confidence and jumping into action and using the basic life-saving skills that we teach, you can definitely help save someone's life. So if any of your listeners are interested, please give us a call at 757-650-3832. Mention FYI Radio, and we would love to offer you a 50% discount on any of our classes. We want you to be interested in learning about CPR. And we're going to do everything we can to build your confidence, to make sure that you can go out there and help save a life or make a difference for someone in need.
I want to say thank you so much, Miss Jessica Morning, for stopping by or calling in to letting our listening audience know that CPR saves lives. Have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 right here on WGPL 1350, WMVA 88.9 Peace, 95.3, and WPCE 1400 AM. And on all social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. And for more information and you'd like to be a special guest, all you got to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Or you can inbox us at Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton Facebook page, FYI Facebook page, or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com. Don't forget to join us for more of FYI come Monday is Sports Talk. And if you're looking at that b-ball, that basketball, we have all the latest scores that you want to know, just in case, in my opinion and Miss Hinton's opinion about what them players are doing. Don't forget to join us on our next up. We got Miss Brown from the Geneva House of Women and Homelessness will be our special guest. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. Oh, by the way, the lady has a new single out called Make It All Right. Don't forget to join us with Bullvic Academy or be a special guest, and don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Until Monday, have a wonderful day. Bye now. I finally found you, love was there for me.